to Big Muddy Mayhem, the podcast where we talk about true crime and bad behavior in the Midwest.
Each week, we'll bring you 2 stories from the heartland that might break your heart, but we hope to entertain you along the way.
I'm Janet O'Brien.
And I'm Tracey Laricha.
Hello?
That's what we do now.
Apparently. I'm sorry. I started something. Now I can't stop it. So how has your week been?
My week has been really, actually pretty all right.
Good.
And we went last Sunday night and went to see Funny Girl at the Fox.
Yeah, I saw that a few days before.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that was so good.
So good.
She belted. She was definitely feeling Barbara. You know what I mean? She definitely was.
Just absolute nails.
Yeah. Crazy. I had never actually seen Funny Girl before, and I don't know.
I hadn't either.
Really?
Yeah. Even though I really like, and I'm also sorry if I sneeze here. I'm getting.
Bless
Sorry.
you.
Yeah, no, I knew it was gonna go.
Yeah, that was an amazing show. That was really, really good. So if you ever want to go see a show in St. Louis, you should go check out the Fox Theater.
Absolutely.
So amazing. So we have 2 stories today.
We do.
And I think you start first.
Oh,
sorry.
sorry.
You again.
All right. Well, kind of along the same lines, I told you I never tell Janet what my story is going to be.
Right. No, not at all.
However, I did tell her that she was going to love my story.
Good. I can't wait.
Today. And so today, I am going to be talking about not 1, but 2 haunted theaters in St. Louis. And the very first one is no mention of St. Louis Theater can be talked about without talking about the St. Louis Fox.
Nope, not at all.
So I'm going to start there. It was built in 1929 by William Fox and his wife Eve.
Nice.
And Howard Crane was the architect. They built 5 theaters that were all at the same time. Brooklyn, Atlanta, Detroit, San Francisco, and St. Louis.
Wow.
Detroit is a twin to what we have right here.
That's amazing.
At the time, it was the second largest theater in the country.
Wow. Oh, wow. That's
with a
crazy.
2,000 pound
chandelier.
Thank you.
I know the history of that because we go there.
It was the Grand Avenue Presbyterian Church.
Okay.
The Fox sat empty from 1978 to 1982. And so, like any respectable theater, it has its share of ghosts. So here are what we have.
Okay.
The orchestra pit ghost. They don't know anything about him. Might have been from when the church was there. Might have been when the building was abandoned.
Right.
Anything like that. There's also a maintenance worker. 1 hallway where people consistently hear jingling of keys down the hall.
Oh my gosh.
And there's also a ton of activity in the tunnels below the stage. But my goodness.
Right?
If you're going to pick a place to haunt,
you're going to pick a theater.
2 nursing students that worked part-time at the Fox. One evening, they were both there. They both have time. So they settle in an empty dressing room, and they get locked in.
Oh, wow.
So they bang on the doors.
Right.
Nobody can get in. They come down with the master key.
Right.
They can't get in.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
So they end up banging like through the like the master key doorknob.
Oh wow.
They take it off. To this day, it's still not there.
The doorknob isn't?
Uh-huh.
Oh my god.
There is also, like, so most of the ghosts have been pretty friendly, but there's one named Jeffrey.
Oh.
He interacts with things, like, and interacts with people, and,
Right.
like,
right.
maybe not great, maybe not
Right. Yeah.
so great. And then also William, and William is the one that seems like he is aggressive.
Oh, okay.
William works in the projection booth.
Okay.
He ran a spotlight in the 1940s.
Mm-hmm.
And he was supposed to be running the spotlights for, like, a bunch of dancers.
Oh, okay.
He missed the light
Okay.
in 1940.
1940, got it.
And a dancer fell off the stage.
Oh, no.
And she broke her leg.
Oh, my gosh. Wow.
And she didn't ever dance again.
Oh, no.
So he was really racked with guilt.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so apparently now he's just like, ugh.
He's a grumpy ghost.
Tour guides and ushers report that they do, like, find the smell of cigar smoke.
Wow.
The STL Paranormal Research Society has multiple photos of apparitions.
Wow.
And in particular, Anna from the mezzanine.
Uh-huh.
People find her in the seats, and they feel short of breath.
Oh, wow.
She used to be kind of a caretaker for the church, and she has a green dress on.
Okay.
Also, if you want to go to the Fox, in the mezzanine, row H, seat 11, seems to be the haunted one.
Okay.
Also, they have said that they've had EVP recordings.
Oh, really?
William Fox, who was, the person that, like, built the theater.
Right.
Eve, make a call.
Oh, okay.
So the EVPs are like, Eve, make a call.
Wow.
Eve was William Fox's wife.
Oh, wow.
She has also been spotted.
Really?
She is noted by her blue suit.
Okay.
And bright red hair.
Ah. Wow. Okay. Kind of easy to pick. Right?
So a little bit less on the second location for the Stiefel. But there is one good haunted theater story, and that deserves another. So,
awesome.
For the Stiefel Theater, some famous shows. My very favorite, oh my gosh, looking at this, the Stiefel, which also used to be the Keel and also used to be the Peabody.
Yeah, it's been through several changes.
One time, Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, Sammy Davis Jr., and Johnny Carson, who was subbing for Joey Bishop.
No way! He subbed for him? I had no idea. I mean, it makes sense because he used to have all those people all the time on his show, so I guess I shouldn't be surprised. But go ahead.
So, Eddie, the four of them are there. And they are all doing a show that is also going to be a televised broadcast.
Awesome.
The building sits where there used to be, like a bar where somebody was stabbed.
Okay.
Anyway, not really as much in the way of specific stories, but there is a ghost at the Stiefel named Rachel.
Okay.
And this is again as told by paranormal and investigators, like from St. Louis.
Right.
And they gave her a name.
They gave her a name? Of course.
But apparently she sings.
Oh, okay.
And she has a really good voice.
Oh, okay.
There are also reports of a man that is in the catwalk that is like up in the rigging. Mm-hmm. And he gives warnings.
Okay.
And he's wearing a miner's hat.
Oh, okay. How is there a...
Why
is there a miner at... I'm very confused.
I have been someone who has like been up in the lights hanging stuff. Like, why is...
What? That doesn't make any sense.
No, it's just not a thing. These aren't union shops.
No.
There is also a woman on the second floor that looks over everything. And somebody has said that, like, her name is Mary.
Okay.
So, during COVID...
Okay, during COVID. Yes, everything shut down.
They had a handful of people that, like, came to be able to just, like, all right, well, you can, you know, you can socially distance and you can do a yoga class.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And somebody in one of those yoga classes was like, oh, her name is Mary. And they were like, oh, I could see her looking over the balcony and this, that, and the other.
Oh, wow.
And they were like, well, we don't really have anybody here. Because
everything's closed. It's the pandemic. Oh, my God.
And this woman said, I meant the dead one.
Oh, no!
So apparently
there's a ghost there that's named Mary and is dead.
And it's just overlooking all of the people.
And a minor. Wow. Well, that's really awesome.
I am so sorry that, like I said, this is small, and here's the thing. You know,
yes,
when I tell ghost stories,
yes,
that I'm like, I'm not.
Is it really a thing? Is it really? Are they really a ghost?
You might believe, like you are maybe a little bit more of the ghost believer,
right? Just a little. Well, that was amazing. I love the story. I love ghost stories, as you know. I do.
Well, I just talked about a dead toddler last week.
Yeah. So... Sometimes when you do crime podcasts, you have to have a palate cleanser afterwards because seriously, when you tell like a really crazy sad story, you're like, yeah, next week that's not going to, because you have to put yourself like in a mental, space. Because if you do like sad after sad after sad, then your life kind of becomes that way. So you need palate cleansers. You got to do it. It's totally normal. It's totally fine. We listen to podcasts and I watch podcasts on YouTube, so I watch them do the same thing. It's cool. But a ghost story is about dead people, so why not, right?
I completely, I message you every week. So here's the thing. We don't give anybody, like, any kind of hint or anything about, like, what next week is going to be.
Right.
But there have been weeks where I'm like, hey, this one was really dark.
Right.
I'm going to do something light.
Yeah, so it's good, like, if we know we're going to do something really dark, it's almost better to kind of go, I'm not telling you the story, but here's what, it's going to be really dark, and maybe we can balance it out to where it's not so bad. I mean, again.
We can't have two dead toddlers on the same week.
God, no! I am still waiting for us to both show up at the same story, because that will eventually happen. It will. It'll be fun. I can't wait for it to happen. So, are you ready for my story?
I would love to.
Okay, so I am going to start off my story because even though I have grown up here, I do speak English, I am not awesome at pronouncing certain words sometimes.
Okay.
It's just a thing. So I need to look this up because it's going to drive me insane, and I've already listened to how the word is pronounced, and I'm like, yeah, I need to hear that again. So we're gonna ask. We're going to play a game where how do you, I'm typing it into my phone, pronounce, see, I can't even spell pronounce, and it is spelled, here we go, where are you, little word that I need right now? I'm finding the word.
Okay.
It's the name of a building, and there we go, here we go. Taliesin.
Taliesin? Is this like a Frank Lloyd Wright?
Yes.
Oh!
Okay, say that one more time.
Taliesin.
Taliesin. Okay, see? Google didn't have to pronounce it. Tracy did.
All you had to do.
I'm going to talk about the massacre at Frank Lloyd Wright's
This was so
Love Cottage.
Oh my God.
It is Love Cottage.
I do know this story, but I cannot wait to hear you tell it.
Okay, so the Love Cottage is also known as the Taliesin.
Uh-huh.
That is the name of the house that he built in Wisconsin. One of the places he built in Wisconsin. Okay, so let me start off with my story. Frank Lloyd Wright, if you do not know, he was a famous American architect, designer, writer, and educator. He has built several buildings. A lot of them still exist. You can tour a lot of them. Frank Lloyd Wright was buried in 1867. He died in 1959. He designed more than 1,000 structures in 70 years.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Right?
That many.
That many. He influenced architects worldwide through his works and his hundreds of apprentices because he loved teaching. Like, he really was a teacher. His famous buildings include Graycliff, the Johnson Wax Building, which I've seen in Racine. I've actually went there. I know our friend Megan is from Racine, right? Hi, Megan. So she knows what building I'm talking about. And Falling Water. Falling Water is a really pretty building where they have falling water. But I
want to go to there.
I know.
I want to go to there.
I know. This girl, Jennifer, she went there about a year ago, and she was posting pictures. It was really cool. Okay. So in 1914, Frank Lloyd Wright, he's pretty much at the top of his game. He's working in Oak Park, which is the outskirts of Chicago. And he's 47 years old. He was involved in a scandalous affair. He ended up building the
Taliesin
home in Wisconsin in mind for him and his mistress, Martha Mama Borthwick Cheney.
Oh.
She was the wife of one of Wright's clients.
Hang on, y'all. This gets dark.
It does. He was commissioned by his neighbor, Edwin Cheney, in 1903. And then Wright started to fall in love immediately with Mama, or Martha.
He started out, I think, if I remember rightly, he was like building it for her husband. And then the two of them were like, hey.
So he started to fall for her. She had 6 children with Edwin, and was married, and so did Frank Lloyd Wright. He had 6 children with his wife.
But
at this time, let's see here. They eventually because they realized they liked each other so much. They eventually ran off to Europe together. And he was just like, yeah, I've fallen for her. So when that happened, Cheney, I see it's Mama, M-A-M-A.
Love happens where it happens.
Exactly. Right. He ended up just divorcing his wife. He's like, nope, not going to do this. But Catherine Wright did not want to get divorced from Frank. She's like, no, I don't want to get a divorce. I think, it's just not going to happen. Because they had 6 kids together. I don't really blame her, but I don't know. I mean, no idea.
Right, wrong.
Right and wrong, right? He then built the house in Spring Green, Wisconsin. That's where he built the house. I cannot pronounce it. It won't stay in my mind.
It's okay.
I'll just point at you.
Spell it for me.
Taliesin. Taliesin. He named it Taliesin. But it was called, like the reporters started to call it the Love Cottage and the Castle of Love. Because everybody freaking knew why he built it. He built it.
And it's so similar to like what he has already always done. But he's building like a love cottage for him and his
his mistress, basically. The residents in the town of Spring Green were not very welcoming of this. The superintendent of schools, he told the reporter, and I'm going to wait, when I read this, I'm going to wait for Tracy's Simpsons quote that's going to happen. The scandal is bound to have demoralizing effect on the school children of the community. It's an outrage to allow young men and women and boys and girls to grow up in the belief that a man and woman can go disregard the marriage bond. Who will think of the children?
Oh my gosh.
The couple was threatened.
And they called her May. I think, right?
Well, no, it was Mama. M-A-M-A.
Mama.
Yeah.
So,
her name was actually Martha. I'm just going to call her Martha because that's easier to pronounce. But, yeah, that's what they called her, is Mama. The couple was threatened with words. They were threatened with tar and feathering. They even had the cops called on them.
Oh, holy shit.
He cared little about what people thought of this relationship. He goes, 2 women are necessary for a man of artistic mind. One to be the mother of his children, and the other to be his mental companion, his inspiration, and soulmate. Yeah, okay.
Must be nice.
Must be
right?
nice. Exactly.
Just walk away from your 6 fucking kids.
I know. It's so messed up. So, August 15th, 1914. Frank is in Chicago. He's working on the design of the Chicago's Midway Gardens. His Martha and her 2 children, they're at the house. And Martha and her son, who's 8, by the name of John, and then she had a 12-year-old. The 12-year-old was also named Martha. They were eating lunch on the porch. That's why I was trying to not use the same name. But we only use her name once, so it's fine. Inside the house, about 25 feet away down there's like this corridor, hallway, whatever. Frank's draftsmen and laborers are being served lunch by this man. I think he was from Barbados. Julian Carlton. He's a handyman and a servant. Right. Julian asked, right after he served them, he went to go find some other guy, and he's like, hey, can I borrow that can of gasoline? I'm going to use it to clean this rug. And so they just gave him the gasoline. Well, the workers are sitting there. All of a sudden, they hear this, splash. Like, what the hell is that? And they realize that something has gotten... They see some gasoline, some liquid, coming out from underneath the front door. And then before they realize anything, the whole the hallway just catches on flames. And they're just like, what? So when the people started to try to escape, Julian The guy who just served them starts attacking them with a hatchet. Mm-hmm. And there was 2 guys that were actually sitting not at the main table, but they were like at a different table, and they were able to jump out the window and get out. One of the guys got out without getting hit by the hatchet. The other guy got hit by the hatchet.
So...
just so crazy. Apparently, he had only worked there for a few months, this guy who did this, and had recently exhibited increased paranoia and argued with his staff. They would see him staring out a window late at night with a butcher knife in his hand.
How do you not flag this person at the first possible opportunity?
Like, there's a problem
How?
here. Well, the thing is that Wright did start getting, like, messages from, like, there's something not right with him. So Wright had planned to replace him because of the way he was acting. And there had also been other altercations between Julian and Emil Brodel. He was also a draftsman there. Before he poured the gasoline, when the workers, were like, what the hell? He had actually already attacked Martha and her 2 children on the front porch.
Oh,
but because
gosh.
she was so far away,
No.
they didn't know.
No.
He hatched them, and then he caught their bodies on fire, and then that's when he started to do the rest. So the workers had not a clue that Martha and her kids were already hatched. Only 2 people survived. This happened on the last day that he was supposed to be employed. So they were already replacing him. Instead of just like, you should leave now, they kept him. They like gave him an indent.
No.
Yeah. Weston and Fritz, they're the people who escaped the house and called for help. And then a group of people, like from neighbors everywhere, they all came together.
But how much could they do?
Right. But they did try to form a posse because he disappeared. They're like, where did we got to go find him? And so when they found him hiding inside the house, inside a fireproof furnace chamber.
Oh, well, lucky you.
Right? He had already ingested hydrochloric acid to commit suicide.
Oh, wow.
But it just ended up burning the hell out of his esophagus, and he was alive.
Oh.
So, he ended up getting sent to Dodgeville jail, where he received medical treatment.
No!
But his throat was so badly damaged, he refused to eat.
Oh.
And after he was arrested, he died 7 weeks later from starvation.
Holy shit.
Right?
7 weeks?
7 weeks.
7?
7. Just starving. During the entire time, he made no statements about why he committed the crime.
And everyone else?
I mean, everybody died that was in the house except those 2 guys who got away. That was it.
Oh.
So the aftermath, that night, the day that it happened, that night, Wright and Martha's ex-husband Cheney, they took a train to the house. Cheney ended up getting the remains of his children, and he ended up leaving. And then Frank did not want the undertaker to touch Martha's body.
Oh.
Because he was the woman he loved. So he ended up having his carpenters put together a simple wooden box for her. It was basically a coffin that was placed on a plain farm wagon covered in flowers and drawn by horses.
Oh, no.
And then Frank and his son and his 2 of Frank's cousins, they ended up helping her bury her in the little cemetery behind the mother's family chapel. Yeah. So he filled in the grave himself. So Frank filled in the grave himself, and then he left it unmarked because he couldn't bear to be reminded of her loss. Why mark the spot where desolation ended and began?
Oh, wow.
Right? Just like...
Because your fucking husband killed you!
It's so crazy. Within the weeks of getting... he got a condolence letter from this other lady by the name of Maud Marian Noel. And then within a few weeks of this happening, he got into another relationship.
I'm sorry, Maud, pick me what?
I don't know. Frank just moves on quickly, clearly. So when that happened, Catherine Wright, his wife that did not want the divorce in 1922, she's like, I'm done. Yeah, I'm done. Okay. I understood. I kind of got the one girl, but no, we're done. So she granted him the divorce. He ended up rebuilding the house, but then it caught on fire again in 1925 from faulty wiring. So it caught on fire twice.
I'm sorry.
He did marry Miriam, but he ended up divorcing her in 1924 because she was addicted to morphine.
Oh, well, it'll happen.
Right. He met a Russian dancer by the name of Olga. I am not going to pronounce her name because it's super long. She was known as Olga Vana, and she was she was about a Russian dancer, and he met her at a ballet in Chicago.
And
so Miriam, that second wife he was married to, she filed divorce in 1927. You notice that all of his relationships kind of overlap.
Mm-hmm.
So Frank and
not great.
Frank and Olga Vana, they end up marrying in 1928, and they have a daughter. Scottsdale, Arizona, 1937.
Okay.
This is when Taliesin West is built. So he wants a summer home now because, this is in Wisconsin. You get older, you want your summer home, right?
And you have kids.
Right, exactly. Well, one kid. So that was the winter home for Frank and his students. He ended up dying at Taliesin West in 1959 or 54. My handwriting is kind of terrible.
Holy shit.
Right. So, per his wishes, he wished his body to be transported back to Wisconsin and be buried in the same small cemetery where Martha was buried.
Oh my God!
So he's married to his third wife.
And he knows who he's in love with.
Yeah, exactly. Now here's where it gets funny. I mean, it does get kind of funny after this.
I was going to say.
The casket is loaded onto a wagon and pulled by 2 horses, just like Martha.
Wow.
To the chapel. There is a long procession with Olgavana and his daughter, and 50 close friends. It takes them like an hour to get to the chapel.
Mm-hmm.
Frank's body remained there until 1985. Here's the little twist. His third wife, Olgavana, when she passed away in 85 in Arizona, her final wishes was to have him exhumed.
Oh, holy shit. Like, you bring him back?
Yes!
Literally, you bring him back to me?
Cremated and sent back to Arizona to be mixed with her ashes and buried.
Janet! That is not the way that things go.
Well, I guess if you have a lot of money, you can do whatever you want. I don't know. This was likely out of spite for some reason. And then she also, when she removed him, she ended up putting a grave marker for Martha. So it's kind of like, I'm going to take your guy back, but I'll put you a grave marker because they left it unmarked,
Wow.
The stone marker read, Mama Borthwick Cheney, giving her back her married name as she was as she had renounced it when she had moved in with Frank.
And they
Lloyd
call
Wright.
her Mama.
Yes.
I've heard Meme also.
Right? Yeah.
But oh man.
So there are ghosts there apparently because our stories always have to somehow come together.
Completely.
Always.
It's so weird that we always.
Right. When the tragedy happened, there were rescue workers carrying the dead and dying up a hill to a cottage that was actually lived in. Numerous accounts of seeing flashing lights, windows opening and closing and slamming doors. There are phantom smells of smoke and gas. They hear voices of children, and there is an apparition of a distraught woman in a white gown. So that is the story.
I am kind of amazed that we continue to.
We just kind of like
overlap
what?
stories.
Exactly. So that's my story.
I know. Oh my gosh. Well, that was amazing.
Thank you.
And I knew a little bit about Frank Lloyd Wright and like, man.
Oh, I forgot to say, this was a call-in by our friend Jolena.
Oh!
Well, she's a recovered architect, so.
But man, I just woof.
Right?
This story is absolutely awful.
Yeah, but
and also absolutely wonderful.
Yeah, it was just kind of like, this very famous person going, yeah, I don't really care what the media says about what I do. This is what I'm doing.
And thank you for telling us about Frank Lloyd Wright.
You're welcome. So I think this is where we should take a break.
I think we should.
Okay, and then we're going to pause, take a little commercial break, and then we'll be back for What's Nice.
Mm-hmm.
If you like being a Muddy Buddy, here are some additional ways you can support our podcast. We have merch available, and the link to our storefront is available in the show notes. You can also support us through Patreon to help offset the cost of producing and publishing the show. And of course, we would love it if you could leave us a 5-star rating and a kind review. Now let's return to What's Nice. And now we're back.
And now we're back, and we're talking about what's nice here.
Awesome.
So I am starting with our what's nice here.
Excellent.
And we are talking about, well, Janet, you know that since I talked about the Fox Theater.
Yes.
Now what I have to talk about is a wonderful place to get a pre-show meal.
I already know where this is going.
And I need to talk about the best steakhouse.
Yay!
So it's just across the street from the Fabulous Fox.
Yes.
And it is someplace that has been put together from 1964.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize it had been there that long, but that makes sense.
I know. I'm pulling up all of my photos. So their promise is short wait, affordable food,
very,
and fast service.
Very, very.
And that is what they do. So nothing is written down.
Nope.
Like the sort of the soup episode.
Oh, yes. From Seinfeld.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
You had better be ready to go.
Exactly.
They're going to yell, next!
Exactly.
And then you had better be ready to be there. No reservations.
Nope.
All cafeteria
Yes.
style. And yet, how is this always the best food?
I know.
I'm showing you pictures.
Oh, yeah, that's somebody's cutting some lamb or whatever, for gyro. There's steak. There's what you would expect if you were to go to a cafeteria and get a piece of cheesecake with the cherries, sauce and cherries on top.
That's
so
absolutely,
good.
What it is. So the most popular dish is the chicken Monterey, which I know is your favorite.
Yeah, it is.
Tell me.
So the Monterey chicken sandwich. I worked downtown for years in downtown St. Louis. And when I was working at this one company, one of the gals would take basically a big order, call it in, and then go pick it up. The Monterey chicken sandwich is this gigantic chicken breast. And it is, and I've seen them pull it out. They'll have it in freaking tubs. It's in this bright orange sauce. And it's not breaded. It's just chicken in this Monterey sauce. And they put it between these two gigantic, thick pieces of buttered Texas toast.
So good.
And then I'd always get, which Tracey and I both agree, their baked potato.
Oh my goodness. Their baked potato is literally the very best one in the city.
Right. Yeah. I took when we went and saw Beetlejuice with my parents and my son. I just bought us dinner, and I think our dinner was not even over $60 for 4 of us. And we all got like steaks and desserts and sodas and the whole, gamut.
It's so good. Like, for me, I need the steak.
Yes.
And I need the baked potato. And I need the cherry cheesecake.
But you said the shrimp is good too, right?
So good.
So
yeah.
good.
Like, but it's amazing. And so the St. Louis Fox Theater is a really, really good place to see a show.
Right.
And if you're looking for a place to go and see a play,
yeah,
then you need like a little bit of a dinner.
Yeah, because it's literally right across the street. I mean, there could be a line to get in, but you don't wait very long. They yell at you, and then you give them...
The line goes down the street.
Yeah.
Sometimes around the block.
Right.
And you walk in, and they were like, next!
Exactly!
And you have to be ready.
Exactly.
Just ready to go.
Yeah, there's a place over in Kansas City that's a barbecue place that kind of uses the same whole, like, you walk in the front door and they're like, next! And you're like, I haven't looked at the menu! I don't know what's happening!
This was opened in 1964, like I said, by a Greek immigrant.
Oh, really?
Dean Cases.
Okay.
And he was the originator of it.
Okay.
And now... Dean Sr. passed away in 2001, but his son and his brother-in-law...
They run it?
Still providing.
Wow. So it's still in the family.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. That's probably why it hasn't changed.
So you still, you get in the line, you yell next, you get a really good steak
Exactly.
and a really good baked potato, and... And that is it.
Yep. Awesome.
And so that's what's nice here.
Yeah. Best steakhouse. There's a reason. So, you ready for my what's nice?
I am.
So, my what's nice, because there's not a lot happening in Spring Green, so you get one guess on what my what's nice is about.
Where?
What is my what's nice about?
Oh my gosh, Taliesin!
What was my story? Oh yeah. Well, it happens to also be what's nice in Spring Green, Wisconsin. It's located 2 miles away from Spring Green. Tours depart from the Frank Lloyd Wright Visitors Center at 5607 County Road C in Spring Green, Wisconsin. The tours, they actually shut down during the winter because Wisconsin, so they won't restart their tours until April 5th. Taliesin Preservation's mission to preserve the culture, build and natural environments that compromise Taliesin property, and to conduct public education and cultural programming that provides a greater understanding of Frank Lloyd Wright's architecture and ideas. So they're still teaching exactly what he did back in the day. Again, he was born actually about 20 miles away from this house. In 1886, remember the church I mentioned earlier?
Yes.
His uncle, Jenkin Lloyd Jones, who was a Unitarian minister, and he actually commissioned to have that chapel built. And Frank Lloyd Wright, actually, he basically designed the interior of the chapel. That was one of his earliest works. Wright, he grew up spending summers at his uncle's farm in the valley, and he considered the valley his home. So when he built the house, he built it there so he could see the valley because he grew up there. Again, it was built as a home, studio, garden sanctuary, and a laboratory for architecture and design. It embodies his ideas of organic architecture. From the courtyards and gardens and the living room, you can see it offers a great view of the valley. It was built with natural limestone and Wisconsin sand and stands on his favorite boyhood hill. 1911, the hill on which Taliesin now stands as the brow was one of his favorite places. He says, it was one of my favorite places when I was a boy, because he loved the flowers there and he loved to see the white snow streaked on the hillsides. In 1914, when they first rebuilt it after the murder, Taliesin should live to show something more of its mortal sacrifice than a charred and terrible ruin on a lonely hillside on the beloved valley. So, he'd wanted to make sure that, that it still looked good. And then he added a room called the Loggia, and you could see the family chapel.
Loggia room.
Yeah. You could see the family chapel from that. The house is set on 800 acres. It is named, the name is from a Welsh heritage. The name actually is of a druid barb. Taliesin means shining brow. It has 34,000 square feet of home, studio, and school. And that's it.
Well,
so
fantastic.
So it's a neat place. You should go tour it. I've never been there. I will probably go there someday.
It looks as though we might
need to do another trip. So I think we're at the end.
I think we are.
So I hope everyone has a good week. And as we like to end it, what do we say?
Well, we like to say that we want to stay Midwest nice.
Stay Midwest nice.